Hello everyone, I am joined by Edison Yue, World Tour Singapore top 8 competitor, here to walk us through his Verdance deck. But before that, Edison, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, dude. Today was all the best Flesh and Blood I feel like I've ever played, and I'm really happy I get a chance to play in top 8 tomorrow.
You had some banger games on stream, and I can't wait to see what else you do with this Verdance. So let's go ahead and talk about your list so far, starting with the equipment over here. So
okay.
Only one choice on the leg piece. I think that's pretty obvious. Everyone knows Stormstriders is, a little bit broken. But let's talk about the headpiece. When do you bring either one of these?
So headpieces depends on if I'm going into a game and I want to play either aggro or I want to play combo. Plume of Evergrowth I play with all my potions, which we'll talk about earlier. Whenever I want to combo people, this is great. I get to go Rampant Growth and then Plume Rampant Growth again. Tons of damage. Usually you're pushing like 30 Arcane in one turn. Crown of Providence is for any aggro matchup. It blocks for 2, as well as you get to sync your arsenals if they're playing anything like CNCs or Leave No Witnesses. So this is great. Also, they cannot Codex of Frailty you if you have a Crown of Providence. Otherwise, you're going to bottom felling.
So I'm guessing the headpiece matches the weapon slot as well?
Yeah,
Plume
exactly.
matches Surgeon.
So whenever I play Crown of Providence, I'm going to be playing Waning Moon. Whenever I play Plume of Evergrowth, I'm playing Surgeon Aether Tide here.
Okay, cool. And now let's talk about the chess piece.
Chess pieces, I'm basically always playing Barskin of the Millennium Tree into almost every matchup. The only matchups I'm playing Alluvion is if I'm playing into another Verdance. This is great, gives you more AB, as well as it turns on your Surgeon Aether Tide for free. Gives you an extra card in hand to combo off with, makes it much easier to combo off, even if you have like a red in hand, for example. Otherwise, Barskin's a really good card. It blocks for like probably 5 or 6 by itself every game. For the arm pieces, again, Metacarpus Note is just for the wizard matchups. I bring it in versus Verdance because I want to AB for their pulsing Aethers. Otherwise, everything else I play in Stonewall Gauntlet, it just blocks a little better.
Yeah, Runeblade isn't really part of the meta right now where you need to bring Metacarpus into anything else. Like Aurora's long gone. So moving on to the main deck cards, what we have here is the core of the deck. We're going to talk about the sideboard later on. And anything for the viewers back home, if you see anything that's a one-off here, that's actually a 3-off. We're just putting it as a one-off on the mat to save some space. But the stuff that are actually 2-offs or less than 3-offs you will see over here. So let's start with the blue Earth cards. Is there anything special you want to talk about these Earth cards, or is it just kind of standard?
I think the blue Earth cards are really standard. Everbloom was printed pretty recently, and this card is absolutely amazing. It does everything you want in a card. This card, if you're getting attacked by an assassin, for example, you can just discard it and gain a life. Once your Verdance is online, you gain a life, you ping them for 1. It's a blue, it blocks for 3, it's Earth. And you can also use Everbloom to put anything you want back into your deck. So if you're trying to set up a pitch stack combo, right? This is essentially a wild card. Absolutely amazing card. Heartbeat is fine. Once you're online, it's a 1/6. It's perfect. Fruit, again, discard for 2, gain 1. It lets you play around your assassins more. In Gravy, once you're online, you can discard it to ping an ally, which is really good. Autumn's Touch, again, blue block 3.
Okay, so let's move on and talk about the decomposers over here. So you've got 3 of Rootbound, Felling and Plowunder, kind of naturally. Let's talk about the Rootbounds and the Cadaverous Tillings in particular.
So you need a way to decompose early to turn on your Felling, your Plowunder. Both Rootbound and Cadaverous has really good decompose effects. Cadaverous just lets you send a 2-card 8 once you decompose. Rootbound is just a D-React that lets you decompose as well. I'm playing 12 decomposers in total. Depending on the matchup, sometimes Felling is a little better, sometimes Plowunder is a little better, especially in combo matchups where you know your opponent is going to Arsenal a really important card, right? I actually much prefer to send just Plowunder and disrupt your Arsenal. Other times, I might wait, see when they Arsenal a card, and if I see them Arsenal for a couple of turns, well, that card is probably important or a combo piece of some sort. And then I'll Plowunder them when I see that they've been sitting on an Arsenal for a while, just to get it out of the way.
So kind of like in the mirror, maybe you prioritize Plowunder a little bit higher?
In the mirror, knowing when to Plowunder is really important. If you just Plowunder a random card, it's not really doing anything. If you're Plowundering Rampant Growth, for example, right? Or even an Arcane Compliance when you're about to combo off, this card does a lot.
Makes a lot of sense. Let's move on and talk about the remaining Earth cards here. Starting with red fruits. I personally really prefer red fruits, but I'm sure at some point you were considering maybe yellow fruits over red fruits or vice versa. Talk to us about that choice.
Personally, I think red fruit is just a lot better. There are many matchups where fruit, you can discard it, you gain 2. It's great, but it's also not like the highest value thing you can play. Sometimes I would much rather prefer to just play their fruits, come in for 7. A 2-card 7 is actually a lot of damage, and it's more than reasonable, especially if you're not online yet. Aside from that, fruits just lets you discard it and gain 2 health whenever you want. This is really good early game, especially if you're going turn 1 at Verdance. Some games you can just draw like 2 or 3 fruits, discard all of them, you start the game up 6 health, and now you can also just decompose easily.
Let's talk about Pulsing Aether Life as well, where obviously it's really nice as a Storm Strider's finish, but what do you think of this card like in the mid game before that? Do you just want to block with it a lot more? Because on the surface, it's kind of just like 2 card 6, right?
It depends on the matchup. Into Assassins, Pulsing Aether Life doesn't matter nearly as much. However, into people without AB, this is essentially 5 true damage. You're gaining life, you're paying them for 1, and then you're shooting them for 4. You can use this for Striders. Into decks with no AB, the Pulsing Aether is basically 2 for 6. Sometimes you can gain life, sometimes you can use it with your Waning Moon to do more damage. Otherwise, into Assassins, I think I tend to block a lot more since I can just AB it easily. Into Gravies, the way you win Gravy games, in my opinion, is knowing when to Storm Striders their ally. Pulsing Aether is by far the most efficient target. You can pitch a blue Storm Striders, kill an ally, as well as gain 1 health. So drawing Pulsing Aether Life and arsenaling it, and being able to use it to kill an ally, stop their entire go again turn, is huge, and often results in Gravies having like 3 or 4 cards in hand and having to arsenal and pass.
That makes a lot of sense. Let's talk about Ring of Roses real quick. It's obviously a one-off. Anything special when you talk about this card?
I think Ring of Roses is great. I do play it in every matchup, and I don't think there's any matchup where I cut Ring of Roses. It is Earth Block 3, as well as if you can get it down early, it can gain you 6, 7, 8, maybe even more life over the course of the game, and every time you gain life, you also ping them for 1. So Ring of Roses by itself generates tons of value. You do have to draw a little earlier, but even if you draw near the end, I'm very happy to just block with it for 3.
Let's move on to the non-Earth cards over here, which is bottom row, starting with Burn Bear, another recent upgrade to the Verdance list. Talk to me about this card.
So Burn Bear is used to just combo with Waning Moon and Storm Striders, right? The idea is that you can pitch 2 blues near the end of the game.
Players Edison Yue and immediately or come to the side events.
He reported it.
Let me double check. Am I going crazy? Oh, I dropped from the Pro Tour.
No, what?
Wait, I can quickly drop on it. It's fine.
Okay.
I understand what happened now. Oh, you know what? Good thing I looked.
That is
Jesus
so
Christ, that's
funny.
so funny. I just realized I dropped from the Pro Tour, not the Sideboard. Oh, that's what happened. I understand now. That's why it's not working. Okay, there we go.
Oh my god.
Okay. I figured it out.
Talk to us about a PT experience. Yeah, I made top 8 and then I dropped.
From the Pro Tour.
All right.
Give me 1 second. Let me just
I'll
double check. I didn't drop from the Pro Tour. You will not be dropped. Okay.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
that's definitely fixable. Yeah. So you're talking about. Let's take it again from. Talk to me about Burn Bear.
So Burn Bear is a lot of damage on your opponent's turn, and the idea is that you just want to combo it with Waning Moon and Storm Striders. You can pitch any 2 blue cards, and you just do 9 damage to your opponent on their turn. This basically means that your opponent is effectively starting out at 31 health. And this really, really helps with the aggro matchups and allows for Verdance to kill people really, really quickly.
And also has a little bit of extra equity into Prism alongside your red fruits, right?
Oh yeah, so into Prism, Burn Bear is an additional popper. You already play quite a few between your CNCs and your Cadaverous Tillings and your fruits. This is just another option. So in total, you have, I believe, 12 poppers. And this one, they cannot even minus the attack off, so it's guaranteed to pop.
Let's move on and talk about some of the majestics over here. So we have CNC and E-Strikes. They're a little bit, pretty common in Verdance lists as well. Anything special you want to talk about these cards?
CNC. Yeah, this card blocks for 3. It blocks for 3, and sometimes you send out your opponent and it's mildly annoying, and they have to block with 2 cards.
Cool.
It's really good for some reason.
Anything interesting about E-Strike?
E-Strike is amazing because you get to pitch stack Burn Bear. What I find is that when I play against opponents, a lot of times if I E-Strike or I sink below a Burn Bear, both of these cards let you bottom a card without letting your opponent know what it is. So especially in combo matchups, such as the Verdance Mirror, right? Having hidden information that your opponent doesn't know is almost crucial to winning, and it really makes it much more difficult for your opponent to know what to play around. The other thing is that in more aggro matchups, I find that people, if they don't see Burn Bear, they're much more scared of it coming up, and they will try to play around it much more. This way you get to block unoptimally, and then you get to just draw into Burn Bear later when they are low on health, and they just have to think and play around Burn Bear the entire time.
Let's move on and talk about Sync Pillow and Scar for this card. Now, this is super unique. You play 3 of Sync and 3 of Scar in every matchup. Can you talk to us how you got to that point?
If I'm trying to play combo, the only thing I care about is drawing to my potions early and then drawing to my rampant growths early. Sync Below is a really, really efficient way to bottom a rampant growth if I draw it, for example. So I play 3 of Sync Belows in every matchup. There is always cards I want to be drawing, and there are always cards that I don't really want as much in my hand. So I think Sync Below has applications in literally every matchup, and there are no matchups where I cut it except for into Kano.
That makes sense. And Scar for a Scar?
Scar for a Scar. This really helps facilitate the aggro plan. You take a little bit of damage, and then you can just hit them for 4 for free, and then you can gain back the life after. It's great. It's a 4-go again, almost every single time. Into Gravies, it's just for kill an ally.
Yep, and you definitely need that into Gravy. Let's move on to the blues that are not Earth. 3 Warmonger's Diplomacy despite Azalea already LLing. Talk to us about that.
So Warmongers is, again, for the most part, a blue block 3 action card. It goes to the grave, I'm pretty happy. I get to play it in some matchups, such as the Verdance Mirror. It makes it a little bit more awkward to string turns together. For example, they can't go Heartbeat and then play an attack after, right? They can't Heartbeat Plow under you. Warmonger is really good in the Gravy matchup as well. If you can clear a board, Warmonger says that they cannot set up a board and attack you at the same time. It buys you a lot of space. Early on, when I was playing Verdance into Gravy, my game plan was to combo them. What ended up happening was that they would pitch stack, loot the hold, and attack me with allies, and it got really, really annoying. So I ended up pitch stacking Warmongers so I can protect my combo turns and make sure they can't loot the hold or disrupt me as much.
That makes a lot of sense. That's really cool tech, actually. And what do you call when you play Warmongers? Do you always call War since you're mostly attacks?
It actually depends entirely on what your opponent calls. Yeah, so if my opponent calls, for example, let's again talk about the Gravy Mirror, right? If my opponent's calling War, I'm going to call Peace. I want to block with 3 cards, play a potion, right? Again, my plan is to combo them. If they call Peace, I need to kill allies, or I need to hit them. So I know if I can't block with my hand and I need to put pressure, attack my opponent, I'll call War. So I really do just wait until my opponent makes a choice and I figure out what I want afterwards. Obviously, if I have a card in hand I want to Arsenal, this is going to change my decision a little. Maybe I just always want to play a potion the next turn.
That is fascinating. Let's move on and talk about mental blocks. So obviously in this meta with a lot of Slippies and Syndra's flicking knives at you, there's additional applications because you can prevent that flick. Anything else you want to talk about this card?
Mental block prevents flick knives, yeah.
Okay.
That's all you need to know. This card is great.
Awesome. And then now the 2-ofs. Why are these 2-ofs, especially the Emeritus Scolding? A lot of people think this is probably an auto-include 3-off as a blue non-attack block 3, but you've only decided 2.
So for the most part, Emeritus only gets value if I do it on my opponent's turn. However, I'm almost always using Storm Striders on Burn Bear or Pulsing Aether, right? These are just better targets for Burn Bear. If you're not using Emeritus on your opponent's turn, then, well, it's a 2 for 2, and it's pretty underwhelming. It does block for 3, which is nice, but I find that Emeritus, the fact that it doesn't even attack allies often means that I'm wishing it's a different card in my hand.
Right.
For Arcane Twinnings, or Arcane Twining, I could see myself playing 3, but sometimes in non-Gravy matchups, this card is just a blue, deals 1 damage. It's pretty underwhelming. It's nice that you get it discarded to Amp, but I find that if I play 3, a lot of times I end up getting it stuck, for example, in hand or in Arsenal, and I'd rather just play 2.
How often have you actually used the Amp to surprise kill your opponent when they think they're out of Strider's range, but you actually got them because of this?
I put Arcane Twinings into my deck fairly recently within the last couple of weeks. Haven't had that come up yet. However, what I've had come up a lot is I play 1 Rampant Growth in the aggro matchups, and then I get them with the Rampant Growth.
Right, so it's the same thing.
It's the same idea, exactly.
Awesome. Well, so that's the core of the deck. Let's move on and talk about the sideboard.
Sure.
So here we have your sideboard setup. So let's go ahead and start with the obvious thing. Let's start with the combo pieces.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the 4 potions and 3 rampants.
So I played 4 potions because the way you win the Verdant Mirror is just by drawing potions faster than your opponent. The sooner you can get set up, the quicker you can kill your opponents. The more potions you play, the more likely you're to draw into a potion early, the easier your game is going to be. I technically main deck 1 Rampant Growth into all matchups. You have a lot of times where you can just do a lot of damage to your opponent. Where, for example, if you draw a bunch of fruits, if you draw a Heartbeat of Candlehold, Rampant Growth just converts for 5 points by itself as an instance. So this card's amazing. However, if you draw too many of it, it doesn't block. If you don't draw your combo pieces, it's not great. I only play 1 in most matchups. If I am playing the full combo, I do play up to 3. You can easily do 40 plus damage to your opponent if you have 4 potions and 2 rampant growths. And this makes it so that every deck has to kill you. They can't just try to fatigue you or just sit there and hope you and just swing a tiny bit of damage at you every turn. Whether I play 4 potions, sometimes I play 2 potions, sometimes I play 3, sometimes I play 4. It really depends on the matchup. If I know that I can leak damage easily into certain matchups, and I only need to do about 20 damage in my combo, for example, instead of the full 40, I'll play less potions and play less rampant growths.
Got it. And I'm sure that also applies to when you're actually executing the combo, where if you're trying to do a combo plan but the opponent has been leaking a bunch of damage, you don't actually wait until you resolved all 4. You can just resolve 2 of them and
Yeah,
do the
exactly.
combo. Yeah.
A lot of times, if you're getting low, you can just resolve to 2 potions and then 2 rampant growths. You're gaining 6 health, you're dealing still about like 18 to 20 damage to your opponent pretty often, especially if you have the Aether Tide and another arcade spell. So this just helps you stabilize when you're low. And now you can go from like maybe 5 to 20 health to all of a sudden you're at 10 health and then they're down to 5 health. And this just helps you stabilize and forces your opponent to do something. You're putting them into burn barrier range, for example. In the Gravy Mirror, don't be afraid to crack your potions early. If you need to kill a Rigor Mortis, tap your potion gain to kill the Rigor Mortis. You can always get your potions back again with Everblue. So if you need to combo them, you still have 40 health, doesn't really matter. Just play Everblue, grab your potions back when you need them.
Right. So do you play all 4 potions into Gravy then?
I do play all 4 potions into Gravy at the moment.
And all 3
yes.
rampants as well?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Now let's talk about the Skowers. Curious that this is sideboard as well. A lot of people kind of thought this is like a free card to just put in your main deck, since it also functions as a sideboard card. So talk to us about this being in the sideboard.
I bring it in versus Finset Fangs. Sometimes I do bring it in as a blue block 3 if I need an extra blue block 3. For example, I want to play less of the 2 blocks. I'll just put it in as a 3 block.
All right, let's move on and talk about these defensive pieces that we've got set up here. So we've got 3 shelters and a snag as well, mostly for Slippy or anything else?
Yeah, snag is just for Slippy. It was a pretty late addition to the deck. I noticed that Slippy is a lot more popular within the last couple of weeks, so I just put the snag in. It helps a lot versus Just a Nick and Bonds of Agony specifically, and can prevent up to like 10 damage by itself and make your opponent waste 2 cards. It's great.
Shelters, any other matchup other than Slippy? Like Syndra?
Shelter, yeah. Syndra, Slippy, basically all of the aggro matchups. So this is going to be mostly Syndra, Slippy right now. Dio, for example, I put this in. I'd imagine there's like a Fang, I put them in as well. Ira, I put them in. All your assassins, all your warriors, anyone that tries to attack you a bunch that just converts for 4 points of value.
Cool. Arcane Compliance, just for Kano or the Mirror as well?
This is for Kano, for the Mirror, as well for Acilio. For the most part, Acilio is going to amp the instant, doesn't do too much. However, you can catch them off sometimes if they try to amp a spell instead. For example, to, what's that?
Mind Warp?
Yeah, if they try to Mind Warp you, for example, amp the Mind Warp to get you to discard cards, you can get them with the Arcane Compliance.
Cool, awesome. Well, thank you for going through your deck with us. This has been incredibly insightful. Thank you so much, and congratulations again on making top 8 at World Tour Singapore.
Yeah, awesome, thank you.
Cool.
Glad to be here.